Hello everyone! Sometimes you're watching a video and you can't seem to figure out what's going on. Well, today you'll experience that feeling more than once. A waterfall of fire, a tree wrapped in plastic, and spiders with 20 legs. You'll find all the strangest and most amazing things in this selection. Let's get it on! Wait a minute, but how's that possible? Water and fire are incompatible, aren't they? It's very simple. The waterfall is on fire only in your mind. In reality, it's the rays of the setting sun striking at a certain angle. This stunning phenomenon can be seen in Yosemite National Park, but not at any time. The light show on this waterfall, known as Horsetail, occurs only a couple of times a year and only for a few minutes. No wonder the event attracts a crowd of tourists and photographers. Spain has La Tomatina, India has the Holi Festival of Colors, and Australia has the Box Wars. And it looks a lot more fun than it sounds.
For the coup d'etat! And straight into the nuclear weapon, you gotta be careful!
This amusing event takes place as part of Victoria's Boogie Music Festival and attracts a lot of people. By the way, all these weapons and costumes are made from recycled cardboard, which has various companies donate to the festival. You're not imagining things. There really is no water under the ice. Instagram users are still wondering how that's possible. Some say it's a cornfield that was flooded with water. The water was later pumped out or absorbed into the ground, but the ice is still there. And some believe it's bamboo stalks that have grown and lifted the ice layer. That time when you don't know whether to be disgusted or delighted. What kind of creatures are they? Maybe they're plants? They look like spiders, but where's the head and why are there so many legs? Meet the crinoids, or sea lilies. They're relatives of sea urchins and starfish and have nothing in common with spiders. Thanks to their feather-like branches, sea lilies maneuver with ease and dodge enemies with grace. Although, who would think of eating it? A guy on a treadmill runs backwards with more speed than many of us run forwards. The only question is where he can use this superpower. Why does this tree look like a chimney? And why is it burning? Inside, there is an explanation. This usually happens when lightning strikes a tree trunk. The wind blows the fire inward and the bark looks perfectly normal on the outside. But usually after a few days of fire, the tree cannot support its own weight and falls down. A great movie should have a great advertising campaign.
I will be back. And I love you, chick.
Here you can see how the makers of the sci-fi action movie The Tomorrow War decided to draw attention to the premiere of their film in Tokyo, Japan. A truck drove through the streets of the city with posters of the movie and a life-size alien inside. It was even taught to move its head to look more realistic. The movie tells the story of these monsters that attacked the Earth. And if even an animatronic is able to scare you, imagine what a whole army of these monsters can do. Let's go back to the scariest and strangest sculptures. Check the monument that was erected 2 years ago on the roof of the City Gallery, Wellington in New Zealand. The 5-meter-high statue of a hand with a melancholy face by Ronnie Van Out received the name Quasi. Do you think the inhabitants of Wellington were outraged at the sight of such a strange decoration in the city center? Far from it. Surprisingly, many were totally captivated by the statue, although some passers-by saw in the enigmatic face a resemblance to Donald Trump and Lovecraft's monsters. But the author himself says the clue is in the name. The sculpture is a reference to Quasimodo, a man of ugly appearance but with a very kind soul. Do you think tortoises sit in the same place all the time and don't need to move? Not at all. Some owners even take them for a walk, just like a dog. However, you will need a lot of patience. As people say in the comments, he went out in the morning and came back a week later. What do you think happened here? Could it be an archaeological site? Or the skeleton of a prehistoric sea monster washed up by a violent wave? Surprisingly, none of the above. In front of you is the amazing Serpent of the Ocean art installation in France by Chinese-French sculptor Huang Yongping. The length of the sculpture is 130 meters. It's almost impossible to distinguish the installation from a real skeleton, especially when the tide comes in and the aluminum bones are just a few inches above the water. And the algae that has accumulated over the years makes the snake even more special. If you ever find yourself in the center of Prague and come across this sculpture, You'll probably shudder in surprise. It looks bizarre, doesn't it? Here's a hint. It's a bust of a famous writer. Of course, this sculpture could only be dedicated to one writer from the Czech Republic, Franz Kafka. One of his most famous works is called The Metamorphoses, and apparently, the authors of the installation wanted to use this idea for their masterpiece. The sculpture has 42 independently rotating parts that create a truly hypnotic effect. The Via Reggio Carnival in Italy is a much anticipated and very beautiful show. But a couple of years ago, visitors were in for a special surprise. See this animated whale? If you look closely, you'll notice that it's made of a very unusual material. It's a mass of recycled plastic and other waste materials. In this way, the authors of the installation by Greenpeace wanted to make a reference to the problem of pollution in the world's oceans. It is known that whales are particularly affected by this issue. We're gonna show you a video that will make you feel tickling just by watching it. Don't believe us? See it for yourself. This horse probably thinks he's a cat. Maybe he was raised by a loving feline family. Raise your hand if you think alpacas are the cutest animals. Well, those in doubt are about to see the proof with their own eyes. Watch as a husky walks a pair of furry friends through the streets of a busy city. The glasses, of course, add some swag. This guy could burst into any Halloween party and immediately become the center of attention. He doesn't even need company. He always comes with his friends. Too bad you can't talk to them over cocktails at the bar. If one day you decide to take a road trip in Japan, be prepared to encounter characters like this one. It looks like you're on the set of a horror movie with evil mannequins. However, the most important thing is that they fulfill their real purpose. These fake people are placed on the side of the road so that drivers stay focused and slow down. Have you ever seen what an ordinary two-wheel tractor looks like? Farmers and gardeners use them all the time. But this is what it would look like if it went through Exhibit's Pimp My Ride. It turns out that it's also possible to do a good tuning job on such a simple vehicle and turn it into a fancy carriage. All you have to do is hook up half the body of a normal car to a small tractor and you'll be able to drive down any road in great luxury. What has become of the inhabitants of this house? Something is definitely wrong here. But even if we want to believe in mysticism and conspiracy, it's most likely that the birds are drying their wings after the rain. Why they're all together on the roof is a whole other question. There's a new trend on TikTok, unboxing. However, not devices, but trees. It looks like an ASMR video. Now, the question is, who needs packaged trees in the first place? Turns out it's simple. That translucent stuff isn't plastic at all, and it's not even spiderweb, even though it looks a lot like one. It's hard to believe, but it's all because of the caterpillars, which wrap the trees with their cocoons during the period of mass reproduction. Surely you have seen hundreds of times in various movies characters trying to fish with their hands on a desert island. It would be different if they were in this place. Here, you don't even have to try. There are so many fish that they literally jump on top of each other. According to the author of this video, this phenomenon can only be observed once a year during the spawning period. Someone give this guy the Employee of the Month award. Thanks to his ingenious idea, he can save any company a lot of money, and here's the reason. Instead of washing the excavator himself or in a special washing system, the cunning guy simply drives to the river, collects the water with the bucket, and profit. Now it looks as good as new. These animals look a bit strange, don't they? But at the same time, in this landscape, they seem so natural, as if nature itself had created them. Well, in a way, it has. All these sculptures are made from rice straw. Every autumn, when harvesting begins in Japan, farmers end up with tons of straw. Some use it to feed livestock or to fertilize the soil, but the people of Niigata are much more creative. For more than a decade, the local park, Uwasekigata, has held an annual rice straw art festival. From this material, the locals create giant bears, dragons, lions, rhinos, gorillas, and crocodiles, and thousands of people visit the temporary exhibition each year.